The camera never lies, but sometimes it reveals truths we're too broken to see. Jinha thought he was protecting his son. He had no idea he was about to witness the one thing that could save them all. The warehouse smelled of rust and regret. Jinha stood in the center, hands in his tailored suit pockets, watching the man on his knees. Blood dripped from the trader's split lip onto concrete. Outside Seoul's neon skyline buzzed indifferent to the violence unfolding in its shadow. "Please," the man choked. "I have a family." "So did the people you sold to the Yakuza." Jinha's voice was ice. He nodded once. The gunshot echoed. Then silence. Jinha didn't flinch. He'd stopped flinching years ago, around the same time he stopped feeling anything except the hollow ache where his heart used to be. He walked past the body, his men bowing as he passed. Power was lonely, but loneliness was safe. His phone buzzed. "New caregiver arrives tomorrow." Manager Choi Jin-ha's jaw tightened. Another stranger in his home, another risk. 7,000 miles away, Bella Washington stood at Incheon Airport, gripping her single battered suitcase like a lifeline. She'd left Atlanta with $847, a stolen passport under a new name, and the kind of fear that lived in your bones. Seoul wasn't a choice, it was an escape. The agency promised work, no questions asked. Desperation made you invisible. Bella caught her reflection in the terminal glass. Dark skin standing out in the sea of faces, eyes that had seen too much, a scar hidden beneath her collar. She'd crossed an ocean to outrun her past. She prayed it was far enough. The taxi drove through glittering streets. Yet Bella pressed her forehead against the window, whispering a prayer her grandmother taught her. "Lord, let me be invisible just a little longer." But some prayers aren't meant to be answered. Both were about to collide, and neither would survive unchanged. Have you ever judged someone before knowing their story? Drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. The cameras were invisible, military grade. Jin-ha installed them himself at 3 a.m., fingers steady despite the whiskey in his system. One in Taemin's bedroom, one in the therapy room, one in the corridor. His son lay motionless in the specialized bed, 7 years old with eyes that tracked movement but couldn't speak. Cerebral palsy had stolen his voice, his mobility, but not his awareness. That was the cruelest part. Taemin understood everything. "I'm protecting you," Jin-ha whispered, adjusting the final lens. "I won't let anyone hurt you again." The last caregiver had left bruises. The one before that, neglect. Jin-ha had made them disappear, literally. This new woman, this Bella, would be watched, tested, judged. She arrived at noon, escorted by Manager Choi. Jin-ha observed from his office monitor, studying her like an opponent. Bella was tall, graceful, her dark skin luminous against Seoul's muted palette. She wore simple clothes, no jewelry. Her eyes scanned the penthouse, cautious, calculating. A survivor's eyes. Choi led her to Taemin's room. Jin-ha leaned closer to the screen, finger hovering over the audio button. Bella approached the bed slowly. She didn't flinch at the machines, the feeding tube, the contorted limbs. Instead, she knelt to eye level. "Hey, beautiful boy," she said softly. "I'm Bella. I'm going to take care of you, okay?" Taemin's eyes found hers. Sharp, suspicious. Bella smiled. "I see you don't trust easy. Smart. Me neither." She reached for his clenched hand. Jin-ha's breath caught. "Your hands are tight, huh? Bet that hurts." She began massaging gently, humming something low and soulful. "My mama used to say tight fists hold on to pain. Maybe we can let some of that go together." Jin-ha watched, frozen. Taemin's fingers relaxed. Something cracked open in Jin-ha's chest. Something dangerous. For 3 days, Jin-ha watched the footage obsessively. Bella sang gospel songs while bathing Taemin. She read to him, not children's books, but poetry. She talked to him like he understood everything, because he did. She never checked her phone, never rushed. He never treated him like a task. It had to be an act. Run a background check, Jin-ha ordered his lieutenant, Seung-min. Everything, every detail. Seung-min raised an eyebrow. Boss, the agency already... Everything. Jin-ha poured himself whiskey at 2 p.m., eyes burning from screen time. On the monitor, Bella was doing physical therapy, moving Taemin's legs in careful rotations. You're strong, Taemin, she murmured. Stronger than your daddy knows, stronger than you know. Jin-ha slammed the glass down. She knew nothing about strength, nothing about what it cost to keep his son alive in a world that wanted to exploit weakness. Bella felt the weight of invisible eyes. She'd learned to sense surveillance in her marriage. Chris had tracked her phone, her emails, her every breath. This felt different, but no less suffocating. She caught herself checking corners, smoothing her expression into neutrality. Don't get attached, she warned herself. This is temporary. Everything is temporary. But Taemin made it hard. When she sang, his breathing steadied. When she massaged his hands, his face softened. When she whispered, "You're not alone," his eyes glistened with something like tears. He sees me, she realized with sudden terror. Really sees me. That night, Bella stood at her window overlooking Seoul's lights, touching the scar on her collarbone. She'd come here to disappear, but Taemin was pulling her back into visibility. And somewhere in this fortress, his father was watching. When was the last time someone truly saw you? Not who you pretend to be, but who you really are. Comment below and hit that subscribe button. This story is about to get even more intense. The threat came on a Tuesday. Jin-ha's phone lit up during a meeting. Unknown number. He answered, and a voice in Japanese said, "Beautiful son you have. Would be a shame if something happened to him." The Yakuza retaliation for the warehouse execution. Jin-ha's blood turned to ice. Within an hour, his entire security team mobilized. Within 2 hours, he'd moved Taemin and Bella to a safe house in Gangnam, a fortified apartment with one entrance, bulletproof windows, and Jin-ha standing guard. Bella hadn't been consulted. She'd been taken. "You can't just kidnap us," she shouted as Jin-ha's men carried Taemin's equipment inside. "I just did." Jin-ha's tone left no room for argument. "Someone threatened my son. You stay here until the threat is eliminated." "I didn't sign up for gangster drama." "You signed up the moment you entered my home." He stepped closer, voice dropping. "You think this is a choice? My son's life isn't negotiable." Bella's jaw clenched. "Neither is mine." Their eyes locked, his black and bottomless, hers fierce with barely contained fury. Taemin made a small sound from his wheelchair. Both turned. "It's okay, baby," Bella said immediately, her voice softening as she knelt beside him. "We're safe, I promise." Jin-ha watched her hands stroke Taemin's hair, watched the way his son leaned into her touch, and felt something unfamiliar twist in his gut. Envy. Night fell. The apartment felt smaller with Jin-ha's presence filling every corner. Bella fed Taemin, gave him his medication, sang him to sleep. Jin-ha sat in the shadows, gun on the table, watching. "You don't sleep?" Bella asked finally, exhausted. "Not when my son is in danger." "He's always in danger in your world." The words hung like an accusation. Jin-ha had no answer, because she was right. On the third night of lockdown, Bella broke. Taemin was asleep. Jin-ha sat by the window, cleaning his gun with mechanical precision. Bella stood in the kitchen, hands shaking as she tried to pour tea. The cup shattered. She stared at the pieces, breathing hard, then sank to the floor. Jinha was beside her instantly. Are you hurt? I'm fine. I'm always fine. But tears streamed down her face. I'm so tired of being fine. He didn't touch her, didn't speak, just waited. I killed my husband, she whispered. The confession hung in the air like smoke. He beat me for 3 years. Broke my ribs, my wrist, my spirit. The police didn't care. His family didn't care, so I endured. Her voice cracked. But then he came after me with a knife, and I grabbed it, and we struggled, and her hands covered her face. Self-defense isn't murder, Jinha said quietly. Tell that to his family. Tell that to the detectives who called me a liar. Tell that to Atlanta PD with a warrant for my arrest. She looked up, eyes red. I ran, changed my name, came here to vanish. But you can't vanish from yourself. Jinha was silent for a long moment. Then, my wife died giving birth to Timon. Bella's breath caught. Complications, hemorrhaging. The doctor said they could save her or the babies. Twins. She chose them. His voice was gravel. Tamon's sister didn't survive past the first night. So my wife died for one child who can't walk, can't speak, can't... He stopped, swallowed. I blamed him. For years I looked at my son and saw what his existence cost. Jinha's eyes glistened. I'm a monster. No, Bella whispered, you're human. Their hands found each other in the broken glass and moonlight. The threat ended 4 days later. Jinha's men eliminated the Yakuza cell, but neither Jinha nor Bella rushed to leave the safe house. Something had shifted. Jinha started helping with Taimin's care. Awkwardly at first, fumbling with feeding tubes, hesitant with touch. Bella guided his hands, patient. Support his head like this, there. See? He's not fragile. He's always seemed fragile to me. That's because you're scared to break him. But Taimon's tougher than you think. She smiled at the boy. Aren't you a warrior? Taimon's eyes crinkled, the closest he could get to a smile. Jinha's throat tightened. He's never looked at me like that. Because you've never let him see you. Bella placed Jinha's hand on Taemin's chest. Feel that heartbeat? That's trust. He's waiting for you to trust him back. Father and son locked eyes. Something ancient and wounded passed between them. Jinha whispered in Korean, voice breaking, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Taemin's hand twitched, reaching. That night, they made ramyun together. Bella added too much gochugaru. Jinha salvaged it with honey. They laughed, real, unburdened laughter, and it felt like the first breath after drowning. You're not what I expected, Jinha said, watching her across the small table. Dangerous black woman corrupting your home? Bella's tone was light, but her eyes were serious. No. Someone who sees past what I've become to what I could be. The air thickened. Jinha reached across the table. His fingers brushed her wrist, tentative, asking permission. Bella didn't pull away. I don't know how to do this, he admitted. The not violence part. Neither do I, the trusting someone part. Their hands intertwined. In the next room, Taemin slept peacefully for the first time in months, dreaming of lullabies and hope. Sungmin arrived the next morning with a file. Jinha took it, still warm from Bella's proximity. He opened it at his desk while she showered. Isabella Washington. Wanted, Atlanta. PD charges second-degree murder. His blood froze. Photos of her husband's body. Police reports. Witness statements claiming she'd attacked first. She lied. Jinha's world tilted. He'd let her into his home, near his son, into his heart, and she'd lied about who she was. When Bella emerged, she found him standing in the doorway, file in hand, face carved from stone. "What's that?" she asked, but her voice already knew. "Who are you?" "Jinha, who are you?" His roar shook the walls. Taemin cried out from the bedroom. Bella moved toward the sound, but Jinha blocked her. "Don't touch my son." "Please, let me explain." "Explain what? That you're wanted for murder? That you lied to get into my home? That everything was an act?" "It wasn't an act." Tears streamed down her face. "I told you the truth." "You told me a version? The police say different." "The police protected a rich white man's reputation over a black woman's bruises?" Her voice cracked. "You want to believe them? Fine. You're just like everyone else." The words hit like bullets. "Get out," Jinha said quietly. "What?" "Get out!" He was shaking, unraveling. "You're fired. You're done. I'll have you deported by morning." "You'd send me back to die?" "Better you than my son paying for my stupidity." Bella stared at him. This man she'd almost loved, and saw only the monster he'd warned her about. "You're right," she whispered. "You are what they made you. And I was a fool to think love could change that." She left without looking back. Taemin screamed. Jinha stood alone in the ruins. For 2 days, Jinha didn't sleep. He watched old camera footage obsessively. Bella singing, Bella laughing, Bella whispering to Taemin, "Your daddy's so scared to love, baby. He's been hurt bad. But underneath all that armor, he's good. I see it. Someday he will too." Jinha's hands shook. He'd called immigration. The order was signed. Bella would be on a plane to Atlanta by tonight, into the hands of a system that had already failed her. "I'm protecting my son," he told himself. But Taemin had stopped eating, stopped responding. His eyes were dull, retreating into the same unreachable place Jinha had found him years ago. "Boss," Sungmin said carefully, "the boy's declining. Maybe we were wrong." "We weren't wrong. The evidence can be manipulated. You know this better than anyone." Sungmin placed another file on the desk. "I kept digging. Her husband's family had connections to the DA's office. Witness statements were coerced. She told the truth." Jinha stared at the papers, blood roaring in his ears. "Where is she?" "Airport. Gate 12. Flight leaves in 40 minutes. Bella sat at the gate, numb. She'd stopped crying, stopped feeling. The void was easier. Her boarding pass crumpled in her fist. Atlanta meant prison, or worse. But staying meant pain of a different kind. The kind that came from loving people who couldn't love you back. I should have stayed invisible, she thought. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost ignored it. Then, "Bella, don't get on that plane, please." TM? Tyman's communication device. Someone had typed for him. Her heart stopped. The boarding call echoed through the terminal. Passengers lined up. Bella stood, trembling, staring at the message. Trust one more time, or run forever. Her feet made the choice before her mind could. She ran. Jinha reached the airport as Bella's flight was boarding. He sprinted through security, badge flashing, guards scattering, his lungs burned. His heart hammered against ribs that felt too tight for everything he needed to say. Gate 12. Gate 12. He burst through the corridor and saw her, turning back from the jetway, phone in hand, tears streaming. "Bella!" She spun. Their eyes met across the crowded gate. Jinha crossed the distance, breathless. "I was wrong. I was so wrong. Jinha, I saw the real file. I know what they did to you. I know you fought for your life." He gripped her shoulders. And I sent you back to them because I was terrified. Terrified of what? Of this. Of needing someone. Of my son loving someone more than he tolerates me. Of me loving someone and losing them, like I lost. His voice shattered. I can't lose anyone else, Bella. But I can't breathe without you either. Bella's hands found his face. You stubborn, broken, beautiful fool. Stay, please. Not as an employee, as... He faltered. As what? As family, as... He switched to Korean, then back to English, desperate. As the woman I love, as Taemin's, our son's mother, as my second chance at not being a monster. Bella kissed him. Soft, trembling, tasting like salt and hope. Yes, she whispered against his lips. Yes to all of it. 3 months later, Taemin's communication device lit up during dinner. Jinha and Bella leaned close. Slowly, painstakingly, letter by letter, the boy typed LOVEYOUMOM, LOVEYOUDAD. Bella sobbed. Jinha pulled them both close. His son, his love, his redemption. The cameras were gone. There was nothing left to hide. Only everything to protect. And for the first time since the warehouse, since Atlanta, Ikeson's loss carved them hollow. They were home. This story proves that love finds us when we're brave enough to be seen, flaws, scars, and all. Have you ever been given a second chance at happiness? Share your story in the comments below. And if this story moved you, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, because we're bringing you more powerful, emotional stories every week that will restore your faith in unexpected miracles. What story should we tell next? Let us know.